you discover that gender in Igbo culture goes far beyond biology. Stay with us, because what you are about to hear will challenge everything you think about the power of men in the face of accomplished women in Igbo society. It's time to like, share, subscribe, and give us your thoughts on the powerful place women have in the Igbo society. Now, you've said that a woman is a biological entity that can deliver, procreate, that can carry the baby and deliver the baby. Okay? So that is very essential.
Biological.
Yeah, but there is also a social woman.
That's right.
And that is why the Igbo say a woman is a man and a man is a woman.
Yeah.
So what is that social thing? Is there some characteristics, some qualities, some behavioral attitude? What is it? What makes it up?
Well, if a man is effeminate, he may be referred to, but then that's metaphorically. As a woman, she lacks courage. He doesn't take, risks that are usually associated with man. That is how I have had it metaphorically said among non-cross river Igbo or the patrilineal Igbo. What is even more convenient for me would be to look at it from kinship standpoint, in which case I will have three categories of Igbo going by kinship. I will have the patrilineal, the matrilineal, double descent, or co-agnatic. Okay, good. So for the matrilineal, who is a woman? Well, a woman is still two. They accept the biological view of woman, which I think we have described, if not defined. And then, of course, I have told you that until a male person gets to the social level where he has initiated into manhood, that person is regarded as a woman. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we have the biological woman. Yes. And the non-initiated person. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. They are all women. Exactly. Even no matter their gender. Exactly. So when you are not initiated into the major societies, you are a woman. Yes. It's part of your gender. So your gender in that context does not matter. That's right. Okay, great. Well, how does the Igbo treat women? What significance? With utmost respect. And they wield enormous power in traditional Igbo system. They have the widest possible power that any other society in the world has given to woman. I give you an example. The anti-colonial agitation started with women. You may remember the so-called Aba women. Yes. Yeah. That's women. And it shocked the Europeans. And their reaction to it was to go and find out. Because if it's in our place, the ones to go for this sort of thing will be men. How come it's rather the women who did this here? And then their idea to getting the answer was to fund two major anthropological research, whose researchers were women. One of them, the first, was a woman called Sylvia Late Rose. The other, who came later, was Margaret Green. Late Rose focused on what, if it's now, will be Rivers, part of Abia, and Imo State. She was based principally at Owerri. She published her work in 1939, and it's called The African Woman. I think the case of the Igbo. And one thing came out of it. She rated the Igbo gender relations the best that she had either read or came across, including her own country. Now, but she was worried. Her worry was that seeing the introduction of Christian religion at that time, we are talking about 1930s, the religion had been with us for barely 30 years, but is making inroads. And so she said, giving the encroachment of this religion and the Western style education, that she has the hunch that these wonderful gender relations will soon
be destroyed,
be in peril. You will remember Lord Lugard. Lord Lugard, the first Governor General of Nigeria.
Yes.
He was the one who wrote the foreword to African Woman. You know, that book by Sylvia Late Rose. And Lugard agreed with her. The British man agreed with her that the Igbo has very peculiar gender relations in favor of women, such that between the two genders, if any of them needed liberation, it would be the man.
The one.
It's still there in libraries. You can borrow a copy and look at it. That was Lord Lugard himself. Then later, Margaret Green came in. That one spent even a longer time. Okay. Because he went from just observing the sociality. Much later, she also went into learning the language, and indeed was one of the early grammarians, collaborating with some of our natives. I think there's the Methodist clergyman who collaborated with her. There used to be, in those days, the grammar book of Igwe and Green. So the same thing. She focused on what now will be Imo, Olo part of Imo. And she collaborated the same type of gender equity existing between the male and the female members of society among the Igbo. Now, apart from those historical aspects, yes, you can also look at what happens, what remains as survivals. I keep coming back to that. Any dispute, any problem that defy the intervention of women in the shape of Umuada in practically all Igbo societies has no other remedy. There's nothing else anybody could do. So when male actors have tried whatever they thought could resolve a problem, if it is that intractable, it is some other, which you know, that will be called in. So that's the power of women in traditional Igbo society. I know that a research is going on right now by an American who, looking at this, also decided to come for on-site participant observation, meaning stay with the Igbos, see, try and do what they do so you could observe. And he told me that the most amazing thing so far is that all the most powerful deities that he had encountered so far, all the most potent deities in Igbo land that he has encountered have been female. So again, that takes you back to thesis of Amadume and her pupils, that originally Igbo was matriarchal. So,
key takeaways from this interview. 1. Women were central to Igbo civilization. In traditional Igbo society, women were not secondary, they were foundational. Power, influence, and social order often revolved around women, both spiritually and politically. 2. Gender in Igbo culture was not purely biological. Beyond biological definition, Igbo society recognized a social gender, meaning status, achievement, and initiation could redefine gender roles within the cultural system, but warned that Western religion and colonial system would destroy this balance, a change still visible today. Now it's time to go to the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, and give us your thoughts on the powerful place women have in the Igbo society. I urge you to please invite the over 70 million Igbos living all over the world to come and drink from this fountain of Igbo wisdom. See you in the next episode.